Hello, hello, hello. I'm super excited to have you here for our today's pitch deck review session where two phenomenal investors, one from Turkey and the other one from Canada, is going to go through with me for two very different type of decks. And we're going to analyze a little bit of what makes them excited about a deck. Do they really understand what's going on in them and what could be improved? The purpose is not to analyze the business by itself, but to rather get a glimpse of the narrative of the deck. And does it really get us excited? And just a little notice for everybody, all the founders over there, if you want to be part of these type of shows where we're going to try to provide more transparent feedback into what is going on with your decks, feel free to reach us out at info@helmi.la. I repeat that, info@helmi.la. And remember to subscribe into our YouTube channel to really get an up-to-date information what is happening in Latin America and its technology ecosystem. So I think that you can somewhere there below find that little subscribe button and enjoy the show. Great to have you here, Derin and Guillaume. Derin from Turkey and Guillaume from Montreal, Canada. We're going to go through two different decks from Latin America, one from Paraguay and one from Argentina, where basically the founders are currently living in Barcelona, like many of the Argentinos. But the purpose is to go through their decks, the mission, the problem, the team, how they try to solve it. And the focus is not going to be what do you think about the business and do they have any chance or not whatsoever, but just do you get excited? If yes, if not, why not? And does it even make sense to you? In a way, cool. So we're going to start from the first company from Argentina, where the founders are based in Barcelona. It's a company called Mokens League, basically an NFT esports platform. They open up with their team slide. Founders and track record immediately. Any thoughts on that? Do you prefer, by the way, that you open up with a team slide, or do you prefer that you start with the problem that they're trying to solve?
Well, I think it's a very traditional way to start with the problem and then continue with the solution, how you solve it, what you do. I think it's a new approach. Like I see it all the time nowadays, like the founders and the background of the founders. I think it's good to know who's presenting and what is the aim here.
I agree. I think, it's always fun to start with the problem, but at the same time, we're investing in people. So I think getting to know who's going to pitch right at the get-go, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it depends on the flow. So it has, narrative and the storyline has to be adapted. It's not bad or good. I think, the team has to go early in the presentation, as early as the first slide. We'll see the next, what's coming up.
Cool.
And also I see that there's this 25 years working experience building video games. It's like a cumulative experience from the team. And I think it's a bit tricky. So whenever I see it, I think like who did what was the timeline? How long did they do this? And what about the rest of the team? But besides that, I think it's a great approach.
Yeah, at least they're trying to really demonstrate that, okay, they know what they're doing and they have an ex-pro in esports arena, so to speak, to build up their reputation right from the beginning. But from there, if we jump into their product slide, what they're actually trying to do, Mokens League, an exciting IP tailored for the casual gaming community. They're trying to build something like a Mokens League esport ecosystem. Any thoughts about their product slide?
Well, I mean, it is a product, but it's not like very detailed. Like you can understand what they're doing here, like building a community, a casual gaming. But at the same time, they don't explain how they do it, with what kind of technology behind, and how they solve the challenges that the market facing currently. And also, it says that it features traditional Web2 gaming. But if you go to the first slide, then you'll see that it's not like it's not going to stay Web 2, probably transform into Web 3. So it's not like very explaining what they're aiming to do. And also, I don't like when they capitalize the free-to-play experience kind of buzzwords like that, because I know that they're doing that to catch the people. So it's another tricky word in that second slide. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that the early stage work, one of the things that it's important is to be focused. And when I'm reading that slide, I've got words that confuse me a bit, like ecosystem, experiences, game, IP. So is it the content company, gaming studio, or are they building some sort of, a platform like Roblox, but for Web3? So I think this sounds fun. But I think it has maybe some more focus. So I clearly understand what it is they want.
Also, like videos from the games could be better than putting some screenshots, because I mean you can't understand what is going on from here. Like I agree with Guillaume. Are they creating the community, or like building their own games, or like what's the aim here?
Maybe we're able to see that a little bit later on in the deck, but for the time being, if I sum it up a little bit, is that you would want to get a little bit more clarity, is that what do they exactly build, and see a little further proof of how they do it exactly. Did I sum it up correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. From there, we hop on to the market slide. Well, they're trying to really visualize how humongous and clear the opportunity is.
I think it's really busy. And
really busy.
Yeah, it's really busy, but it's really personal. But the TAM slide for me is not that important, because I'll do that work by myself after that. So I think, the TAM slide has to be just one big visual, one number, just that, clearly set, where you play. I think I don't know what to look at right now. I think this is probably going in appendix or something like that. Maybe not at the forefront of the presentation, because it's really too busy.
Yeah, it's like you got lost in the page, like where to look. And also, I agree with Guillaume, like putting some visuals here, like charts or some sort of I don't know, like charts probably better, because it's too much. But there are too much words and a lot of percentages, and right after, if we like the startup, then right after the call we check the markets. And also, if we're focusing on, for example, gaming studios, gaming companies, we already know the markets, because I mean we have to look at the markets if we're investing in that market, right? So it's not very important. So keeping it simple and casual, I think it's better for a market slide.
True. And if we go now for the second of the market slide, is this any better? Or like overall, would you say that, because if you invest in, let's say, Web3 and gaming and content, you know the market so well that you don't really, do you want to see at all the market slides? Does it matter?
Well, I think it's personal again, but for example, if I have limited time, I probably say like let's continue with other slides, because it's not that important. I don't have to see the previous market overview, so it's more like nice to have, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with Derin. I think I think the market overview, or that type of slide, if you're bringing it, in the presentation, tell me something new. So maybe, something the crossroad of mobile gaming and Web3. Is there a trend? Why? I need to, deck has to be something that, pique my curiosity to know more. Not, just showing me newsroom reports or stuff. I'm reading those. So I think that's better than the other side. So.
Okay.
And also, I think before the overview, I see that a lot of people put the market fit and the market overview in the same slide to clarify how they differentiate and how they how will they enter if it's an early stage startup, of course, how will they enter that market? How do they differentiate? Because it's like, yeah, you can put the market overview like statistics and data, but how will you put yourselves in that data, right? So they can probably put some 2 or 3 bullets. How will they enter that market? I think it's more productive to see.
Yes. Okay. From there, if we jump now to the ecosystem that they're trying to build, they want to really clarify, okay, what they are after at. They currently want to build an esports ecosystem. Moken's League Champions Series. And from there, a little bit more information about in Moken's League, climb from grassroots competition to professional esports, join community tournaments, conquer in-game challenges, and ascend to the prestigious Moken's League Champions Series. And then overall esports and streaming ready from day one. Fun to play, fun to watch, and free to play Web3 on demand.
Well, there are a lot of things going on here. Well, they started with Web2 and now they're talking about Web3, and there's a bit of community building in the middle of the slides. And yeah, I mean, I got lost between 3 slides.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's existing and what's to build. You know what I mean? And is there are they building are they adding to the ecosystem, or they're starting from scratch? Is the game already release or not? So I don't know what stage we are, or is it just the deck? Like, that's the idea. I don't know what's is it steps as well? Because doing all of this, it doesn't make sense in a year. So what's the first stage? And we'll probably go there later on the ask itself. But what's it for? Why do they need the RL for? I think you have to, when you're pitching a company, but you're also think about the investor mindset of they'll want to invest in something that the usage up front is really clear. So yeah, and too much slide. I think it depends the flow, but it's really it can be they can be lost in multiple slides, a changement like that. So I would reduce it.
Reduce a little bit more on that. If we then go to take a little bit of look, hopefully this would be able to clarify, let's see, about their business model. So, and hopefully to be able to clarify the question. So then if I understand correctly from you, correct me if I'm wrong, that you still don't really understand the intersection from Web2 to Web3 and what is actually being accomplished to date and what needs to be built.
Yeah, we still didn't see any KPIs, like if it's like built already, what are the download metrics and everything, because if it's a pitch deck that's going to be like pitched to the VCs or to the investors, then it has to be prepared that way. Like, it has to be appealing in terms of metrics and data to give them a reason to invest, right?
Yeah.
As far as I can see, I only see the visuals, like it's probably built, but when, how, what happened, yeah, these questions are still questions.
Yeah, well, let's go on because I don't have anything really to add. I'm really intrigued about
Okay.
how they're going to position the business model.
See, let's go further and now towards hopefully to answer what they have accomplished, especially now, Guillaume, what you mentioned earlier. What have they actually done? Is something ready? And so on. They have signed strategic partnerships with the relatively many players. And here, more concretely, okay, public beta launch on Q4 23.
Okay.
December 21, they raised $2 million with a $20 million valuation to develop product MVP. They launched a token and got the product ready to go to market.
Okay. Now we see some metrics.
Yeah, and I think this slide might need to go earlier on. Maybe not about the round, but maybe about the milestones, so that we better understand. Okay, great. So they've got it, or they're working on it. So maybe they can show something really concrete.
Yeah. But is this providing, let's say, clarification to your questions in a way that, okay, what stage they are, what have they accomplished? Is this clarifying those things to you in a way? Does this make you more?
Yeah, but I think, for sure, they've got a public beta. So, right now I can actually go and maybe test it.
And test it out.
I know they've been backed by, probably, I'll probably ask questions, but, by credible VCs or, angel investor, friends and family. So it's solid. They're probably well anchored in their community. So that's a lot about, the credibility of the proposal as well. And I think that really helps.
But still, I mean, so can we go up a bit, Eric, if it's possible?
Yeah,
Like
towards where?
Yeah, at the start of this page. Yeah, exactly. So it says that, for example, the other one, what we have done so far slide. Yeah. So it says that they got an investment in December 2021 and they did a beta launch in Q4 2023. So what happened between, right? Because I mean, if they were valuated at 20 million at like 2021, then they had to add some value to like increase their valuation till now. So it would probably be better if they could like put some how to say timeline here, because it's not explaining that much in terms of dates and timelines.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. I think that in a way that if you would have to conclude with one sentence, what did you get out of that deck that you saw? What would that be?
I think that's interesting. You can see that it's coming from gamers. They're looking at the future, with Web3. But I think there's a lot. That's the thing. It's a lot. They probably have to synthesize a little bit more their strategy in what they're trying to do. I would as well change a bit the flow, and restructure it. I saw that they've got 17,000 users within. I don't know if they launched the beta in Q4. That's a pretty good traction. I think this has to be highlighted more, but I had to read it in small bullets. So I would probably change a bit to make it more impactful. But yeah, I would take a meeting just to understand what they're trying to do and who they are.
Absolutely. But this is like one of the challenging points that sorry to interrupt over there, is that you would take a meeting, but then the reality is that investors are seeing so many decks, and a lot of them might not even go towards the end. So then it's like the intrigue needs to be captured within the first momentum. Because if there might be, and I've seen also personally so many good decks and bad decks, that sometimes even the bad decks might be even better companies, because in a way that you just somebody, if they don't know how to present the narrative in a sexy, cool way, in a short way, then the investors are never going to take a look at, because investors are seeing so many things that it's super hard to capture your attention, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Also, like early stage decks has to be prepared in a way of sending the deck, like distributing via email or LinkedIn, and it still has to be understood by the people who are like looking at that deck without telling them what is happening in the slides, right? So, for example, I mean, personally, I couldn't understand till we come to that like traction page, KPI page, what was done before and what is the aim here? Like, what will they do next after they fundraise? So it has to be prepared in a way that everyone can understand when they look at the pages. Like maybe put some KPIs in the screenshots, like game screenshots pages or like product pages to make it understandable. If it's like developed or not, like what is the aim? Are they gonna transform from Web 2 to Web 3? Did they create any NFTs? Did they launch the token? What is going on there? What about the rest of the team? Like where's the headquarter? A lot of questions popped into my mind. And some of the questions I couldn't get the answer.
Thanks, Derin. Cool. Then we go now into the second deck of the day. A company called Reva from Asunción, Paraguay, from the middle of South America. South America. Let's go in. It's a completely different field. They're focusing on sports, SaaS offering in a way. They are now going directly to the problems, a little bit different from the Moken League where they open up with their team slide. Problem, players. Players don't have all the information to enjoy a match with friends. Sport venues, fully operating at most 30% of their capacity, meaning 70% of court availability wasted. Health, growing levels of inactivity, depression, anxiety, loneliness, and isolation.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any thoughts on this?
And
compared to, in a way that the first sense over here is this sports as a platform for health, and then they come into their problem.
Yeah, I think
okay, I mean, it's very brief.
Yeah.
You can understand the bullets, like what is the problem here? Yeah.
Then towards the market, again, okay, coming back into what you said earlier, is that this is what you would do on your own, especially if it's a vertical and niche that you're very familiar with. You don't really need to see this. But if you would be an angel investor who does not necessarily understand,
Of course.
do they provide any value?
I think that's the typical type of slide we're seeing in TAM, and but it's really personal for me. That's enough. I mentioned, everyone is putting it, but it's not the one that will strike me in terms of attention. But I would say usually I like the flow of, if you start with the problem and go fast in the solution, because I really want to understand, okay, that's the problem I'm tackling. This is my solution. So that's the type of, presentation I like. So for me, going into like the problem and after that, the market, and going back to the solution, it's kind of, it stopped me in the flow of, wanted to understand.
And from there towards the solutions, okay, they have product bookings and product competitions. So a platform that they enable direct bookings and participate in competition.
I don't know what it is, Albert, So that's probably the biggest problem. I don't know what they're doing. So is it, to book courts of tennis, basketball, both.
We still couldn't understand what is the solution, what are they doing, what is the product. I mean, we can understand that they're like in Latin America and like we can see the KPIs here, but still couldn't understand what is happening.
Interesting. And that's already that when we're basically now going towards the solution. If you don't understand what they're doing, would you continue? No, you have to, by the way. We're on tape, we're in record, so we gotta keep going. But in a normal scenario, and by the way, question, in a normal situation, that would you say that you understand what percentage of the decks that you're reading? Meaning that, hey, do you understand 50% of the decks that you're scrolling through, that do they make sense to you? Do you understand what the company is doing easily or not easily? Normally?
Well, it depends. I mean, I see, our target is like developing emerging markets, right? So a lot of early stage decks are not very well organized. So you have to go to the last slide to understand what is really going on and what stage are they at. So it's very understandable and it's okay. And also I think it's another strategy because now you're curious and you feel the urge of understanding what is really going on there. So you have to see the other slides, right? It's another strategy. Well, not on purpose, but
intentional or not intentional, we don't know. What is the idea, the thought of the founders?
Yeah.
I think we should understand at least the problem that you're trying to solve. I think 100% of the deck, I need to understand what's the problem you're trying to solve. After that, the more technically the founders are, like real deep tech. Sometimes I get lost because, I don't have the technical understanding. But still, a deck for me is the entry point. And, I saw more and more, founders sending a different deck that present the one they're presenting. And I think that's smart, just an appeal they're sending. And so I understand, I get curious, want to know more. And after that, when it's supported by more, vocal arguments and, some, founders, they can go deeper and they can answer the question. But I think it has to be clear, crystal clear when you're sending something. What are you trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I receive a lot of Notion pages, like not decks, but kind of like a one-pager. So like explaining in a brief way what they do, what they gain. I think like the trend of sending pitch decks changing into sending one-pagers or teasers, just like the necessary information with KPIs. And then if they receive interest, then go on an interview or a first meeting to see the deck, actually.
Good point. From there, if we go down to the business model, okay, and then after that, traction, market network, they're charging a monthly fee per chord and something from each player. Does this clarify anything for you, or are you still remaining, let's say, unclear?
I'm trying to understand if it is like B2B only.
Yeah.
Or is there a part where they get attraction from B2B2C or B2C?
Okay.
I'm still trying to understand here.
So then we go for the traction. Maybe this would be able to answer that. Okay. Well, they started when they achieved break even. Where they have operations, what sports are included. Okay, Guillaume, you were asking, is this for tennis or what?
Yep.
It seems to be for racket sports and other.
Yeah, I think it's all course. This is, these four, just symbols help me. Like, so it has to come earlier on. So it's all course. And they've got solid, like they've got pretty good traction. So, I'm just looking, 75,000, registered user, 17, monthly active user, low revenue for that type of, of user base, but still, and I would probably look at as well on the business model, understanding that traction, why it's not a marketplace. And I would probably ask a couple, question about the marketplace, because, some of the courts are, are they, in Canada, that's different, but, some are public. So can you really put, courts and monetize public land? So I would have, question.
Clarifying questions.
Yeah.
And Derin?
Yeah, I agree. And also I would probably want to see more about products, because there were like only 2 screenshots again, and it's not like very easy to understand by just looking at 2 screenshots.
Absolutely.
Also, another question, maybe a question to you, Guillaume, is break even really important for you, for example?
Nope.
Not really, right?
Not at this point, because I think, if you break even so fast, it means that, probably it's really easy to replicate you, which you're first in the market. That's good. But, I don't think, technologically, you've got something defensible enough. So I would probably not put, break even. I would just put, the revenue number, and you can, talk about it. And the catch-22 would break even. It's like, oh, great, you're generating money and you're managing well your costs. That's great. But at the same time, I'll be afraid to invest in a lifestyle company. And they break even and they just run and, don't grow. I won't say hockey stick, but, they don't grow enough, because they don't have the pressure to it. So, I agree, Derin. I don't know if it's worth it to put it there, but there may be cultural, context that I don't know.
Yeah.
I
agree with you.
There's a good, this is a good point. And I would say that this is like a very big difference in terms of where is the company based at. What I mean by that is, like, in a way that in the West, let's say, in a more Western countries where you have a lot more liquidity, you don't need to go break even in order to survive, because you have, let's say, a lot more grants,
100%.
capital, credit available. So when you operate in, let's say, certain emerging markets, this is just like a clarifying point for the audience, is that you simply don't have the choice because you don't have market liquidity. So then, in a way that they might not be lifestyle businesses, because, they would like to grow, but if there's no capital available, then they just need to do whatever they can to keep the company afloat. But this is like just a little cultural nuance.
Yeah, I agree. But maybe, the startup game is based on burning money, right? Especially in early stages. Maybe putting like a graph showing the burn rate, and based on their expansion strategy and what will they do next is better, like giving a better understanding on their financial position.
Yeah, that's interesting to compare the two, and that's a great exercise, Eric. Thanks, because look at the second one. I don't know who am I talking to. It didn't, we didn't go over a team slide, so.
We're running that out because of time constraints. So
but
it would be there. So, but I had to keep the time constraint of it, and I need to.
But it came later on. That's interesting because they come later on. But the other one, they started off with that. So that's 2 different strategies.
Absolutely. And it was like, for your information, it was there at the very, very bottom, and to demonstrate the team and all the normal things that you would see. But just to respect your time in a way that we're cutting it short. But in a way that if we would need to conclude over here right now from Reva, from the last slides that you saw, any concluding sentence what you were able to just take a glimpse at from very few 4 or 5 slides?
I would try to I would love to see a more dreamy, big, bolder vision. So like the Airbnb of sports facility or whatever. Like,
True.
you know what I mean? I'm a VC, so throw me a bone. Give me something, bold. So
Good point.
That will be my only thing. It looks that it's a business that is already working, break even, stable, but they want to grow. So I'm not even sure if VC is the right approach. Maybe banking or different type of fund
Look at that.
financing.
Maybe they already have it in the other slides, but we were running late.
Yeah.
Eric, so tell us, do they have that kind of slide?
On that, in a way that they have what are the future plans and expansion into basically dominate the game in Latin America and go and expand into North America. Well, yes, that was there. We had to do that. But hey, Derin and Guillaume, thanks a lot for participating today. I think that these type of conversations where you were able to give, let's say, the constructive feedback, what do you don't really get and what is that you would like to see in what type of order, I think it's going to be super valuable because, as mentioned many, many times before, there's just so much, let's say, non-clarity. What do you think when you go through decks? The founders are just so desperate and they are begging your attention and saying any nice thing and giving you anything you need in order to make them like you. So in a way that they don't really get this honest feedback. So thanks a lot for both of you to participating today.
Thank you so much, Eric. It was lovely.
Thanks.